Sir Criston Cole, the unsolicited social climber, rose to the heights of success in Westeros by doing things that most of us love to hate. From being the son of a steward to the hand of the King of Westeros, he climbed the social ladder like no one else. His ascent is significant as it not only showcases his ambition and cunningness, but also his ability to adapt and thrive in the cutthroat world of Westerosi politics. Though Peter Baelish, the legendary Littlefinger, managed to get a place in court, he never became the Lord's Hand in the Seven Kingdoms. But apart from being ruthless, the only thing that makes them similar is what they did to the people they once loved. Although Peter's death in the final episode of the 7th season at the hands of Arya was a record-breaking success for the show, we're yet to witness a similar fate for the Kingmaker, Sir Criston Cole, in the prequel show House of the Dragon. However, as this event takes place 200 years before Game of Thrones, his death has already been portrayed in the books. So put on your armor and let's get into this video so we can discuss everything about the Kingmaker and how he reaches his final fate in the books. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. House of Cole. In Fire and Blood, it's mentioned that Criston Cole was born in a minor house in Dorne. His father worked as the steward to Lord Dondarrion of Blackhaven in the Dornish Marches. But that wouldn't stop a headstrong Criston from leaving it all behind to become a knight. He trained extensively in the craft of swordsmanship, fought for over a year at the border conflict with Dorne, and was knighted by Sir Arlen Dondarrion for his bravery. He was then sent to King's Landing to take part in the Heirs Tournament during the birth of Baelon Targaryen. This is where his journey really takes off and he impresses everyone, including Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, who later appoints him as her personal guard. In this tournament, he gets to fight against Prince Daemon Targaryen, the brother of King Viserys Targaryen I, and win the match. His bravery later pays off when Princess Rhaenyra chooses him over other knights of respectable houses as her guard. Star-crossed lovers. It's known that in the medieval ages, knights were required to take an unbreakable vow, which forbade them from taking wives or having children. This was an act dedicated to the throne and the king that allowed them to focus on their duty and dedication to their country. Similarly, after becoming a knight, Sir Criston Cole also took an oath for the protection of King Viserys Targaryen and later Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. When he was selected as the princess's guard, Cole became responsible for her safety, which he took very seriously and did his best to protect her. However, as we know, people tend to develop relationships when they spend their time together. Similarly, the knight and the princess formed an intimate relationship after spending quite some time together. However, the depiction of their affair is entirely different in the books versus the show. In House of the Dragon, we see a young Rhaenyra and Criston get into a steamy affair after Rhaenyra spends a night out on the town with his uncle Daemon Targaryen in Flea Bottom. The sexual acts in the pleasure house instigate her desires and she seduces Criston into her chamber. However, in the books, their affair is only shown from other people's perspectives in different accounts. In one of these instances, it's described that Criston initially rejected Rhaenyra's proposal, but later started falling in love. This relationship, which was initially a source of joy and comfort for Criston, eventually became a source of pain and resentment. Their love was forbidden, and after the rejection of his marriage proposal by Rhaenyra, Criston became a despicable enemy instead of a charming lover boy. Relationship with Alicent Hightower. The rumor of the affair between the princess and the knight quickly became the talk of the town, and Queen Alicent Hightower, who was great friends with the princess, wanted to put an end to the rumor. She met with Criston to confirm the news, where, for the first time, Criston confessed his love for the princess. The queen, after being brainwashed by her father, Otto Hightower, uses this information for her own gain. She appoints Criston as her guard and gathered all the information she could on Rhaenyra, including her extramarital affair with Sir Harwin and the legitimacy of their sons. In the midst of all the drama, Criston and Alicent also started their affair and indulged themselves in regular pleasure when King Viserys became seriously ill with his incurable disease. Though they tried their best to keep their relationship a secret for many years, it was later discovered by her daughter/daughter-in-law Helena during the murder of her son Jaehaerys. Lord Commander of King's Landing. After a surprising turn of events, Criston Cole found himself in the position of Lord Commander of King's Landing after Harold Westerling vacated the position by going against the order of the small council to declare Prince Aegon II as King of Westeros after the death of King Viserys. When Princess Rhaenyra was married to her cousin Sir Laenor Velaryon, he became the personal guard to the Queen, Alicent Hightower, with whom he started developing another affair as he had previously done with the princess. This affair, much like his previous one, was not just a romantic entanglement but a strategic move. It allowed him to develop a strong bond with the Queen and a position in the small council where he routinely became a spectator of the politics played by Lord Hand Otto Hightower. But this affair allowed him to develop a strong bond with the Queen and a position in the small council, where he routinely became a spectator of the politics played by Lord Hand Otto Hightower. He soon started spreading rumors about Rhaenyra's relationship with her husband, Sir Laenor, and her bastard children, rumored to be Sir Harwin Strong's seeds. This proves how rejection made him a ruthless man who wanted revenge from his ex-lover. He also became one of the chief propaganda makers behind the succession of King Aegon and placed the crown of his namesake, Aegon the Conqueror, on his head. Hand of the King! After the succession of Aegon, things were about to change quickly in Westeros. While most of the ancient houses were in support of the crown princess Rhaenyra, the war was the only option left to dethrone her half-brother from the Iron Throne. Before the ceremony, Criston took everyone into custody and made them break their pledge and bend their knees for the support of Aegon. This instigated Rhaenyra and her uncle-husband Daemon to gather support from other houses for the upcoming war. While gathering support from Storm's End, the death of Lucerys Velaryon and the action taken by Daemon to avenge his death, which resulted in the death of Jaehaerys Targaryen, forced King Aegon to dismiss his grandfather, Sir Otto Hightower, and appoint Criston Cole as the new Hand of the King. After becoming the Hand, Criston's first big step was to send a hitman to kill now Queen Rhaenyra in Dragonstone. Though the hitman, Sir Arryk, was killed by his twin brother, Sir Eric, while protecting the Queen, it soon became apparent that Criston never recovered from the rejection he faced years ago when he had planned to elope with the Queen himself. Later, when the battle began and Criston faced the Black Army at the Battle of Rook's Rest, he skillfully managed to defeat them with his battle tactics. Though this war crippled King Aegon, Criston Cole remained the Hand of the King. The Dance of the Dragons. The Great War, known as the Dance of the Dragons between King Aegon II and his sister, Queen Rhaenyra, became a game-changing event in the history of Westeros. One could imagine the consequences of a war fought with more than 17 dragons compared to the 3 dragons of Daenerys, which we previously witnessed in Game of Thrones. The impact of this war was so great that it's still considered one of the bloodiest conflicts ever fought in the history of Westeros. When the war started and Aegon became a cripple after the Battle of Rook's Rest, his younger brother became the Prince Regent and took the command on behalf of the king. Aemond, who rode the mighty Vhagar, was the most powerful dragon rider in Westeros. With the help of Vhagar, he was powerful enough to kill every other dragon in the battle. Criston was too good not to notice the power of Vhagar, so he planned to retake Harrenhal from Prince Daemon, who had gathered his army there in support of his wife, Queen Rhaenyra. After an intense battle with the Black Army, Criston realized that Prince Daemon had fled Harrenhal and had trapped them inside the castle to capture King's Landing instead. While the Black Army captured the capital, the Green Army was stuck in a false war by Prince Daemon. The end of House Cole in the books. After the events of Harrenhal, Criston Cole marched down south with the Green Army to meet the hosts of House Hightower. But the Blacks made it difficult for them to reach their desired destination. They poisoned the water, destroyed the villages, and stopped all supplies being delivered to the Green Army, which made it very difficult for them to survive. During this time, the Black Army, led by Black Trombo, a Myrish sellsword, attacked them and killed half of the Green Army. However, Criston Cole and the rest of the Green Army managed to escape from the sellsword and tried to cross the Blackwater Rush, a river in Westeros. While crossing the river, Cole and his army were stopped by the Black Army led by Sir Garibald Grey, Sir Pate of Longleaf, and Roderick Dustin of House Barrowtown. It quickly becomes reminiscent of the Red Wedding, a scenario where House Grey also played an important part, killing half the stars of Game of Thrones. Here, Criston Cole had to face another Grey in his final battle. Though Criston offered his surrender to the lords to save his men, they refused to accept his offer. This made Criston challenge all 3 lords to a final fight, but he was instead finished off using 3 arrows. The Fate of Criston in the show. If you're a fan of the show, you must also be aware that even though these shows are based on books by author George R.R. Martin, who also acts as the creator and executive producer, the story in the show sometimes tends to divert from the original story. Be it Sansa's marriage to the sadistic Ramsay Bolton, the arc of Catelyn Stark's ultimate fate, or even the addition of the Night King to the storyline, Game of Thrones changed everything to make the show more exciting. But now, with the release of House of the Dragons, they're about to add even more drama to the prequel series. In the first season alone, the fans were quick enough to notice that House of the Dragon is about to follow a similar path to its predecessor and change some of the significant plots. For example, the friendly relationship between Princess Rhaenyra and Alicent was the stepping stone for the audience into the show. Still, in the books, George only mentions the rivalry between these two. However, as we know, after the release of the show, the characters became significantly more popular among the audience. Much like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon has given us some of our most and least favorite characters. Among them is the character Sir Sir Criston Cole, played by British actor Fabian Frankel, who was turned into one of the most hated characters in the entire franchise, although Otto Hightower takes the spot for least favorite. However, his story arc begins with him as a handsome, naive, dignified knight who swears to protect the princess from all danger. Criston is the sworn enemy of the now Queen Rhaenyra. Criston sending Sir Auric to kill Rhaenyra was another significant plot point that showcased his hatred for the Queen. In the third episode of Season 2, Criston is seen adorning a new look, which resembles the haircut previously worn by Cersei Lannister, which might be a clue about the upcoming events that portray him in a much darker shade. Marvelous verdict! In the world of George R.R. Martin, things are always uncertain. At the show's beginning, the audience hated the characters Jaime Lannister and Theon Greyjoy. Still, by the show's end, those two characters became fan favorites after their remorseful storylines. If you're a fan of the show, you've probably noticed the similarities between Criston Cole and Jaime Lannister. They lost the Kingsguard, they broke their sacred vows and engaged with queens. Both are stone-cold, ruthless warriors, and they love revenge. However, what makes them different is their approach to situations. Yes, Jaime was a cold-hearted man who pushed a kid out of a tower, but he suffered the consequences and lost all of his children after the show ended. He chose to fight for the sake of humanity rather than for his sister's cause. But for Criston, the arc storyline might still remain the same. He is the Kingmaker who crowned a Joffrey Baratheon ripoff and wants to kill his ex-lover for rejecting his proposal. Director Geeta Patel, who directed 3 episodes of Season 2, revealed in a recent interview that Cole is about to reveal some big secrets in the future. By the end of the season finale, he'll be seen in a different light than he is now. It'll be interesting to watch how his character growth will take a new direction, but it is sure that his death will be one of the most satisfying scenes in the entire show. As his ultimate fate is still unknown to the Knight, it'll be interesting to see how the makers shape his character in the show. So, who's your favorite character in House of the Dragon? And do you think Criston Cole deserves the kind of hate he's been receiving from the audience? Let us know your thoughts about him in the comment section down below, and if you like our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more marvelous content. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.